back to the Smarktank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. We are your hosts. I'm Joey Business, and I'm flanked by my wonderful cohort, Donnie Wonderful.
Mr. Donnie Wonderful.
Yes. And we are coming to you just right before AEW Revolution to bring you all the haps, Sam Roberts, on what's going on in wrestling right now.
Yes, indeed. And it's been an interesting, let's say, 48 hours of professional wrestling, so to speak. The date is February 29th, 2020. We've had I don't want to call it a pay-per-view. I just call it a specialty show.
Mr. Wonderful, if I can cut you off for a second. I love your description of what you would call interesting. It's like shining shit. There's no way to put this, ladies and gentlemen. The last 48 hours, if you're a wrestling fan, have sucked donkey nuts.
Including last night's Smackdown?
Yeah. Ooh. Including. There was 5 minutes of that show that was redeemable, and it was the last 5 minutes.
Oh, let's get into it.
Yeah. So, as you can probably tell, I'm a little salty.
Yes,
you can insert meme here, whatever the frig you want. I cannot believe that they made the booking decision to have Goldberg to dethrone the Fiend. I'm sorry, I'm so angry I can't even speak. I get it from a money standpoint. I get it. McMahon has this insecurity with relying on older proven stars, but the problem is those old and proven stars are no longer proven anymore. And they proved it because Goldberg, I like Goldberg as a human being. I think he's a decent person. Mm-hmm. I like what he stands for as a physical specimen. I liked the whole, when he came back and he was 50 years old, he wanted to come back because his son Gage has never seen him wrestle. Right. And he wanted to be a superhero.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that kind of placement in today's world because there's so much shit going on, that gets us down on a daily basis.
It was wholesome. It was a wholesome return, and anybody that's a human being could relate to it. Yeah, you wanted to show your son or your loved ones that you could. This was what you did before you was a dad, but this is what I want you to see me in that light. I get it.
Yeah, but I can honestly say it ran its course. It came in with the big shock spectacle. He beat the piss out of Lesnar at Survivor Series in 30 seconds or so, and then he beat him again. Then he beat Owens. And then he lost to Lesnar in the rematch, the inevitable rematch, which was a good match. It's Goldberg's best match since returning was that WrestleMania match. It was a hard-hitting, blockbuster, brutal match that lasted about 6 minutes.
And when we get to that WrestleMania on our Retromania series, you'll likely hear me say that was the best under 6-minute match I've ever seen at a WrestleMania.
It was fantastic. Now, this stinks of what happened with Kevin Owens at Fastlane 2017. And this is my issue. They go to the well again. Okay. Now, I don't know if it's a demand by Goldberg, that it's an ego thing, that he's buying into his own hype and he wants to be champ again because he feels like he can do it. There's nothing wrong with somebody saying,
it's so close to, it's almost WrestleMania time. So know it's more of a marketing thing rather than an ego thing.
So I'm like, I get it. Age is a number. We are from New England. We love Tom Brady wherever he goes. Wherever he goes, I have to say. I'm not one of those fans. And I'm a diehard Patriots fan, but getting back on track. But getting back on track, like, we just have to say, there's nothing wrong with trying to prove to yourself what your body can continue to do. You don't want to get old, and you're only as old as you feel, and I get that. But Goldberg can't honestly look himself out of his last few outings, and my dog agrees. Goldberg can't look himself out of his last few outings and say that he's even at a serviceable performance level. And that's what really upsets me because it stinks of what happened to Kevin Owens. Going into, as a matter of fact, this is very apropos, and we're tangential. That's the way that this show works. AEW was kind of born from this baffled mistake. We had the hottest program in 2017, which was the Festival of Friendship.
Yeah.
The Best of Friends.
Was it that long ago?
Yes. Wow, the Best of Friends was when Jericho and Owens were so tight. They were the tag team, but they were sharing the Universal title.
Yeah.
And you knew it was a Mega Powers Explode situation where they were inevitably going to clash.
Right.
That match should have been for the Universal title at WrestleMania. Kevin Owens was on a hot streak. He was undefeated going not undefeated, but he didn't lose the title going all the way in to Fastlane. Mm-hmm. Goldberg got announced out of nowhere.
And then,
he didn't win a Royal Rumble. He just came in and said, Brock, you're next. And on the way, he got a Jack in the Box burger and then came and speared the shit out of Kevin Owens and took the title.
You know what? I'm glad you referenced that. I completely forgot that these two instances are parallel.
Extremely parallel.
Wow.
So Kevin Owens was, I don't care what you say, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had the hottest program in 2016 and 17 leading through. They were off the charts popular. Everything was going great. Yeah. And they threw it away for a 30-second booking decision. And Kevin Owens was never the same. So then you put them into a feud for the U.S. title. Yeah. And not only that, you didn't give them a marquee spot in the show. They worked their ass off, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. And the rumors were Vince McMahon was very disappointed in the match. So to him, that validated, this is why I wouldn't give you that. But to me, that's bullshit.
I see where you're going with this. So you're saying that, and you alluded to it earlier, but you're saying that they're looking for another cheap payoff at WrestleMania with Goldberg and not Roman.
It is Roman. Yeah, it's already booked in stone. It's Goldberg versus Roman. They came out last night and announced it. The middle of the program.
I had missed the show.
Like, this is how bad it is. The booking makes no sense. They threw out the Elimination Chamber match. There's no more Elimination Chamber match.
Wow.
They just came out and said, Roman came out and challenged Goldberg and said, I'm next. And the crowd popped. But I think they would have popped for anyone but Goldberg last night. And all of a sudden, they put up on the graphic like 10 minutes later, it's official. Roman is going to face Goldberg for the Universal Championship. So he just jumped 5 other people that earned their way into the chamber. Now there's nothing.
So what's your over-under with how long that match is going to
It's 7 minutes.
7 minutes?
Maybe Roman can get him to 10, and it'll be all Roman. But my issue with it is, it's not the work rate. It's not that, because we come in a world of wrestling where you suspend belief and work rate for a good program, to be entertained. That's the ultimate thing. You want to be entertained, but if you want to treat it like a sport, you want to be able to buy in, like you said to me off camera. Yeah. How the fuck can you buy in to The Fiend now? Because you just had a guy who has been out of work. I don't remember the last time. Oh, Goldberg came in at a last Super Showdown. Yeah, and it was abysmal. Yeah. It was absolutely abysmal. And I get him wanting to redeem himself, but this reeks of a Saudi payday on his part, where he's, it's as big as a WrestleMania payday, if not bigger. Right. It's probably much bigger, to be honest. Likely. So I don't blame him for wanting to get it, but you could have done anything else. Goldberg could have won by DQ. Mm-hmm. You could have just had The Fiend retreat or something. Anything. But instead, you didn't have any build-up. You had one promo on a Smackdown, and it was a satellite promo.
So, wait, tell me this. So, let's play Fantasy Booker.
Yeah.
So, what would you, Joey Business, what would you have done as far as an alternative for the booking if the Fiend is leaving the Saudi show with the championship? What's next for him at WrestleMania?
John Cena.
So the Fiend and John Cena for the title.
Absolutely, because the worst case scenario, you get John Cena gets number 17, which everyone can get behind and say, okay, if anybody's going to get number 17, it isn't going to be Ric Flair. Okay. As much as I love Rick, and even Rick could work better than Goldberg right now, I'm pretty sure. So, I feel like Matt Riddle right now. I'm really trashing Goldberg. I like him. I'm a fan. I really enjoy him, but he's past it right now. And what he's doing, he's not doing it specifically. McMahon is just, McMahon is coronavirus to WWE. That is my claim.
Hold that thought, because in this instance here, you have John Cena, who's also not as old as Goldberg, but he's also past his prime, and he is a part-time wrestler. So you're putting the title for the 17th time on John Cena over the Fiend. Isn't that kind of
no? My ideal situation would be for Fiend to go on that revenge tour, and the last stop is John Cena, and because it's how it began, and Bray needs that win back from WrestleMania 30 that he never got. You know, that was a great feud.
Yeah,
Jon should have jobbed to him at that pay-per-view, and I think that would have done Bray wonders. That would have done Bray wonders.
All of us pundits all agreed with that.
Yeah.
So the revenge tour, you would have had it begin with John Cena?
No, I would have had it end with John Cena at this WrestleMania. I have no problem with him facing John Cena at WrestleMania.
But who else does the Fiend need to? I mean, because there's Undertaker. There's are we talking about redeeming matches? At
we're talking about like redeeming losses.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess Undertaker would be on there, and hell, I could have took Undertaker versus the Fiend last night instead of what Undertaker. I mean, 2 nights ago, instead of what Undertaker did to AJ Styles, which was criminal. Come out and beat him with a half-ass chokeslam. A fresh AJ Styles got pinned with a half-ass chokeslam.
Listen, this is one of the reasons why we need to do video. I wish you guys can see the anguish on my colleague's face right now.
It's so brutal. I mean, I said what I said. Vince McMahon is coronavirus to WWE right now. I know that's a little controversial, but I don't give a shit. Because he's not doing... People are canceling subscriptions. Now, he is just popping old stars in these spots, these coveted WrestleMania spots. Yeah. Picture you being at your job and whatever it is to anyone out there, and you work day in, day out, and then all of a sudden this guy who was a superstar or like a hot shot years ago pops in and takes your bonus when your bonus comes because your boss can't pay you because they're too busy earmarking the money for that person to come back and get a nice little payday. Well, you did all the work. Thanks, Haas, but I'll take it from here. It's bullshit.
Yeah. And also what we were saying to get everybody abreast, what we were talking about off camera was this formula here of the yesteryear stars. So like bad. Goldberg obviously, has the reputation of being a megastar in WCW.
And he's still green.
And yeah. Even though he's old, that comes in and that obviously beats the Fiend for the world title. So we were saying, hey, so technically with that formula, Hulk Hogan can come off
absolutely
come
Why
out of
not?
retirement and still drop the big boot and win a heavyweight championship title. But like you have guys that are here that train their asses off, that paid their dues and spent years in the independent circuits, and it's like they get the call up to the main roster, and I use air quotes when I say that. It just seems like to quote Gorilla Monsoon, it's a miscarriage of justice. Like I don't like the fact that there's squash matches and okay. So if Goldberg and let's say a Zack Ryder were to get into an actual fist fight today, I mean, I don't know how good of a fighter Zack Ryder is, but I mean, I'm just gonna go with youth. But if they were in boxing, right, the old guy, no matter if he was good 10, 20 years ago, is not gonna beat a young lion. So like that's how I felt. Now it's good when they come in and kind of give us the dream matches that we want, and they pay homage to the younger guys and they put the younger guys over. I really respect that. But like you said, Vince is having them come in and they're taking these prime WrestleMania spots. I'm not gonna go as far as to say it's a coronavirus, but I definitely share your sentiment of anguish with that. And I'm a huge Goldberg fan. I thought even back then in the early millennium when Goldberg had his run in WCW that he was a superhero, man. Like nothing but love and respect for Bill Goldberg. But I want to treat wrestling. WWE, everything. I want to treat professional wrestling, I'm going to say it like that, like it's a sport and it's a believable sport, period.
If it's a form of entertainment and it's something you put your hard-earned money and go to arenas to watch, you have the right to critique it. Now, some fans go way above and beyond and shit on everything in the product and don't give them their just due or don't give long-term booking a chance and whatever. But when you have a talent like Bray Wyatt, who has worked so hard to dig himself, now he wasn't even in a doghouse.
Wait, hold on.
He was just bad book.
Mention what you told me off camera about the Twitter post.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but there was somebody who actually said a tweet and said, "Is WWE intentionally ruining their characters right now?" And Bray Wyatt tweeted yes. Now I don't know if that tweet is still up there, but one would have to understand that he is upset. But the thing is also, I don't know if the there is referring to Miz and Morrison, which was explained in the tweet, because Miz and Morrison got jobbed out last night, and they're the new champs. So they were like, oh, are they ruining their characters? Now, there could mean their Miz and Morrison, or there could mean the roster. So Bray's kind of comfortable either way. He answered that because he could be like, well, I meant Miz and Morrison. But I know deep down, I'm sure he meant himself.
Likely.
Because it's so unfair. And I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt's the greatest worker in the world either. Listen, I don't need a 5-star match. I got the Young Bucks for that tonight. Amen. They're going to put on the fucking 5-star match of every night, all the time.
Yes.
There's no question. If you want work rate, watch a certain show. If you want, but you want a good product on everything you watch.
Yes.
If you like McDonald's, which I'm not a fast food person really, but everyone enjoys grease once in a while. You like McDonald's, you want the burger to be at least decent. So, I mean, regardless of where you shop or where you eat, you want it to be good.
Yeah.
Well, the same applies to your entertainment. You aren't going to go see a bad movie if the movie absolutely sucks. If it does nothing for you, you're not going to go, I can't wait to waste 3 hours in a movie theater for that shit that sucks. You don't want to. So it frustrates me to an end standpoint because NXT is gold.
Yes.
Everything they do, we've said this so many times, they are incapable of putting on a bad takeover. Incapable. Now,
what's the common denominator there?
It's the booking, I believe.
Okay.
I believe it's the booking and the belief in the talent and the non-hampering of them to a point where it's the WWE system. Mm-hmm. Because I do believe talent is allowed to thrive there and make their own way. I believe Triple H believes in a sink or swim situation. Like The Dream. He gets his tights tailored a certain way, like Call Me Up Vince. Mm-hmm. If you think that came from Triple H, that absolutely didn't. So, like, they're allowed to put their own spin and their own heart into things instead of a room full of writers who tell them, no, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. I don't think they go through the same kind of bureaucracy that a main roster superstar has to go through to get their segment on television.
I bet. Now, let me ask you this too: is part of your frustrations with the WWE right now in the past 48 hours because the Friday Night Smackdown show was also bad in your opinion?
It was bad because you just threw out booking style. You have no, like, okay, if we are to buy into your product, we've been watching for months, weeks, years, whatever. So we know Elimination Chamber's coming up. You have hyped up that the men's Elimination Chamber is going to be the winner of that is going to take on whoever is the champion at WrestleMania. Yeah. So that gives a little air of mystique. You're like, is the Fiend going to lose it? Is the Fiend not going to lose it? Right. So let's get over the fact that the Fiend lost it, which I'm not over. I'm still fucking pissed. But the Fiend lost it. Let's get over that. Now you threw out the other end of the booking where you just had Roman come out and challenge. So to the point where they made it defunct and said, yeah, we're not doing that chamber match anymore. The men's chamber match is now for the tag team titles. And then they scrambled and threw it together. So that person who's been watching your product and buying in and, getting used to what they're being fed, all of a sudden they get swapped out and they're confused. Like, if you don't care about your booking, why should I? If you're not invested in it, why should I as a viewer say, I want to put my time into watching your product? I can't, because you just fucking don't care. You're just on the fly say, you know what, I don't feel like, this isn't going to work. So you either have your faith in your product and you do the long burn, or you can change out and do an about face, but at least make it make sense. Okay. What is Roman's reason for getting ahead of all those other guys?
He just came out.
He just came out and got on the mic first and said, "I'm next." And I know it's backstage that Goldbergs wanted to challenge Roman for a long time. They said when Friday Night Smackdown started on the red carpet, they asked Goldberg who was the one person he wanted to face. Roman Reigns is the one checkbox he wants to knock off. I am all for him. It doesn't
have to be for a title, though.
No, it doesn't. That match is bigger than the title.
Yes, it is.
That match is bigger than the title. And if Vince thinks throwing a title on Roman because it's blue now is going to make us not boo him in the same fashion, it's not. What's going to happen is if Roman does and should win from Goldberg at WrestleMania, otherwise you have two part-timers holding the belt. If Roman wins it, you're gonna just boo him whoever he faces next, unless it's Baron Corbin, and then we'll cheer him. Right. And then how many more Baron Corbin matches do we have to suffer through?
So to heal those freshly cut wounds of yours, in about 12 minutes we have AEW Revolution.
Yes.
Do you think that tonight's pay-per-view is enough to kind of like put you at ease for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't set the bar very high. It's like I could trip over the bar that the WWE set this week. So it's like, but here's the saving grace.
Oh, man.
That doesn't take away from Cody, the Bucks, and everyone in AEW putting out a quality product. They could have burned through Moxley and Jericho on a Dynamite because it was hot. Mm-hmm. They didn't. They said, this is a risk. We're going to wait from November to now. It's 3 months. That's in today's wrestling world, we're not used to a 3-month build for a title. We're used to, next month or 3 weeks from now. Which, by the way, Elimination Chamber's next week. So it's like, I love it because whatever... if they're smart, and I think they are, because I believe Cody Rhodes is a student, they're watching WWE and they're listening to fan product, and they're going, fuck, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Now, do they have most notoriable talent? No, like Darby Allin, is he a household name yet? Not yet. Is, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy? Not yet.
You mentioned him because I was listening to an interview with Luchasaurus where he's saying that he watches the competitors because he wants to know what's going on. He wants to be abreast on what they're putting out.
That's just good market research.
Of course. It absolutely is.
Who doesn't do that?
I mean, you're in competition with these guys. No. You want to know about what's happening.
I hate when people say, I don't watch the other product. They're lying.
There's a bull-faced lie.
It's a bull-faced lie because you're watching it. Because you're going, I don't want to do that, or I can do that better, or I can do this. Regardless.
So do you think with the past 2 days the WWE had, do you think that the AEW roster sitting on their high horse, rubbing their palms together, thinking like we're gonna shut everything down tonight?
I don't think they're that type. I don't think that they take things for granted. They're still hungry. Their Dynamites are getting better and better. This past Dynamite's one of the best Dynamites they put out since Dynamite started. And I would say we were arguably one of the best Dynamites, the second one. There have been some that have been less than perfect, and some that was like, it was all right. But they're just a higher quality product. They believe in their product and they believe in their people more. Like, you have Jericho get pinned, or you have Jericho get upstaged. Yeah. He's not afraid to do it. And Jericho has made a career off of putting people over. I would venture to say that Jericho's lost more times than he's won in his career, most likely, like Mick Foley. Mm-hmm. But he's a household name. He's a GOAT of wrestling. And he will be a Hall of Famer in any federation, period. And he constantly reinvents himself. At almost 50 years old, if Jericho's watching, I'm sorry, I know you're 49.
Or listening.
Right. But at almost 50 years old, at 49 years old, he is far better than most of the current roster, younger or older. All around every promotion, because he doesn't play the hits
well, he gets
and get comfortable.
He gets it. There's certain talent that just gets it. They have it. Like Matt Hardy, like we were saying, we're so pissed that he signed with WWE. Matt Hardy is a genius when it comes to reinventing himself.
Yep.
Jake the Snake Roberts was a genius. Like, he just had it. Like his promos were just they were eerily brilliant. Like, there's guys that just get it. But on that note,
but Jericho takes things that are he knows when they work, and he knows when they. So he's very smart. Like, if he does something and it doesn't work, he throws it away. It goes right in the scrap box.
I was gonna bring up, since we're talking about talent that's good, that talent that understands
the Young Bucks.
No, not Young Bucks. I was actually gonna go into Moxley. I was gonna say, on that note, let's bring Jon Moxley into this conversation, because he is very good at reinventing himself, in my opinion. Now, there's some similarities with, like the lunatic fringe and how crazy and how reckless they seem to be. But, I think that Jon when he speaks, when he's on the mic here at AEW, I can hear the freedom. I can hear the
so much more
he's
free.
having.
So much more free. And it doesn't have to be perfect eloquence all the time. You have some people on the stick who are just fantastic at it, can throw words together in their sleep. Then you have others who are serviceable. The problem is, it doesn't matter if you're eloquent or you're serviceable, as long as you make me believe.
Yeah.
Like Cody Rhodes, he wasn't always the best promo in WWE. You could tell he's evolved. Why? Because he continued working. He went to the Indies. He went to ROH. He went to MLW. He went to NEW. He went to all these other promotions, NWA. He did everything because he wanted to get better. And he's only getting better.
Yeah, sure is.
His promo of the Staten Island of wrestling was one of the best promos I've heard in years when he told AEW that this is Ellis Island, Staten Island, Jesus. Ellis Island of wrestling. It's true. So you can see the freedom, and you know why? Because there is freedom. They told you from the beginning, and they've delivered on everything they've said so far. You haven't heard a backstory come out. You haven't heard backstage them going, no, they hold us down, and they write our promos for us and hand us a script. No one does it. And you know what? It shows. Because they're not always comfortable on that mic when they get out there. Yeah. Sometimes the words they're fumbling for or whatever. But that's life. That would be like me and you pissed off in a situation. Hey, if I'm going to go fight somebody because, you just, robbed me or you did me wrong, and I'm not going to be searching for the most eloquent words to say to you. Exactly. Be like, hey, and wait for the right camera angle and then fade in, fade out.
It doesn't seem like it's overly produced.
It's not overly produced.
And honestly...
It's underproduced.
In my opinion, it's essentially like watching Rome get built. And I enjoy it. And, there's some Wednesdays where I'm not able to catch it live, but I DVR it, and I watch the entire show. I don't fast forward anything. I watch every single match because they're all contested as if and respected as a professional sport. With the exception of, and he's my boy, but I love Orange Cassidy. I love Freshly Squeezed. But that's entertainment. But outside of that, everything, like I said, it feels like matches can go either way. And that's what I want, and that's what I respect, because again, all these guys, they bust their ass to perfect this craft, and it's hard to perfect because it's ever evolving. But I think that everybody deserves a fair shake at entertaining us. I don't believe in squash matches. I just don't.
I don't either. They don't serve anybody unless, like in a Brock Lesnar case, when you're building him up, or the Fiend, where you have to build him up, and it makes sense from a character standpoint to destroy him, to build him up as some kind of monster. Then it makes sense for squash matches. But it doesn't make sense for a squash match when you're trying to... The rosters all work with each other. Yeah. Unless you have been under a rock, wrestling is not real. It has not been real since the dawn of its inception, as far as from a professional point of view. It hasn't been real. So you're buying into the entertainment and the mystique and the factor of, this guy is entertaining you via, this feud. So it becomes more popular.
And your dog Brady agrees.
And my dog agrees once again. So AEW does a lot of things right because they bring you back that old school mentality. Now, it's not a studio performance like NWA Power, and it's not as low lights as a NXT. It's right in the middle. But they do what they want. Everything they do, they make you care. Yeah. You could tell Jon Moxley is happiest he's ever been in this promotion. So with that being said, they're in a win-win situation tonight. Jericho's as hot as he's ever been. He's not been any hotter other than the Festival of Friendship in the list. So, and that was just a short time ago, a couple of years ago. So he either keeps it tonight by dastardly deeds and dastardly means, and he goes on and he's still the first ever AEW champion, and the ship just rolls on. Or Jon Moxley takes it off of him in a Fury of Revenge, starts another program, and goes in a different direction, and you win there too, because now you get new feuds. That's the thing. WWE books themselves into a corner where they're like, oh shit, when this person loses, what do we do? Like, I won't even talk about the travesty that's Kofi Kingston. Oh, God. Like, what the Christ were they doing with him? They brought him up for 11 years, give him a title, and then you squash him in 9 seconds, and then he doesn't even care. His character no longer cares about the belt. Yeah, he's back to throwing pancakes. Where's the consistency in that? Unfortunately. Where would that make sense? Kofi should be a top-level guy.
And Kofi Mania was at a fever pitch.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted it. Everybody accepted it. Now, I know you like to say, like when people carry the belt for too long.
Yeah, I'll say this again. Vince McMahon is coronavirus to WWE. I'm sorry. I have to say it one more time, just to make sure. But yeah, when people carry the belt too long in this day and age, it's really hard to make a point because... your attention span. Yeah. We've got so many alternatives for products now, especially with AEW now, as a marquee product. So you get tired of the same person holding the belt, and I get it. Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, 6 months is a great reign, but you shit all over it. You didn't even, The Fiend didn't even come back out and get pissed off and say, hey, where's my rematch? There's no rematch. But they also threw in that loophole in WWE now that there's no more automatic rematches unless Vince McMahon comes out and says so. Wow. Whenever its storyline fits. Wow. So the only redeemable thing they did was they had Bray Wyatt challenge John Cena. And it's the only way he'll get his heat back is if he beats Cena. Right. If he doesn't beat Cena, then they've doubled down on just killing The Fiend. And you might as well unmask him as Bray Wyatt, even though we all know it's him. Yeah. But unmask him and just wipe him of that power. Get rid of it because it will no longer work. If you beat him twice, it's done.
Well, we're about to be vaccinated from
my God.
coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm getting my vaccination. I'm so excited.
We're going to have to end this right now. AEW Revolution is about to begin. For Joey Business, I'm Donnie Wonderful. Thank you guys for listening.